Who would like to begin?
Frankly, I'm pretty upset. I'm being asked to pay more than I was supposed to. This is simply unacceptable.
I am in jeopardy of bankruptcy as a company. So for me, it's very much a financial crisis.
I haven't gotten what I expected to get.
What were you expecting?
I asked for it to be solid oak.
All of a sudden, $7,000 just come at you out of the blue. That could have been much higher, but you trusted me to make some choices.
None of the upgrade costs were in writing.
What was in that original agreement?
I fully acknowledge that it went past the 3 months that I'd expected it to be done in.
How was that for you?
It was extremely dissatisfactory. I really feel it's unfair that I'm being expected to pay more for these services at this point.
I brought in plumbers, I brought in electricians, I brought in flooring people. They did the work. They need to be paid, and that money needs to come from you.
You have people knocking at your door for money. Is that what is causing the financial crisis?
Yes, the part that you're disputing, this extra $7,000, was much cheaper than it could have been.
How is that for you to hear that?
Not great. I mean, I already feel like I've paid so much money into this project.
Was there anything that happened that you really liked about the project?
I paid what I thought the job was worth.
So what specifically are you dissatisfied about the way it looks?
It looks cheap.
If I could wave a magic wand, the one thing I'd change right now is...
Cameron and Megan, thank you so much for joining me at Mediation today. I want to acknowledge you both for coming and having this conversation, a candid conversation about what you're in conflict about. I'm Michelle. You can call me Michelle. Are you both okay on a first name basis?
Yes, I am. You can call me Cameron.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So let me just kind of talk about what you can expect from me as a mediator. So my job is to facilitate the conversation. I'm not going to tell you what to do or tell you what decisions to make today. My job is also to not give you legal advice. So I'm not an attorney, but even if I was an attorney, I wouldn't be giving you legal advice today. This is a voluntary process. If at any time you feel like you need to take a break or you need to withdraw, you have the opportunity to do that. The conversation that we'll be having today is confidential. And what that means is that any kind of communication that we have, whether it's written or verbal, we're not going to speak about it outside this meeting today. And the reason for that is so that you both can be open and honest with one another and really help me try to find the root of the problem. Okay? Any questions so far about that?
I don't think so.
Okay, so that's what you can expect from me, that I'm just going to facilitate this conversation. There's some things that I expect from you. So one of the things that I want you to do is bargain in good faith. And what that means is that you both will truly try to come to some sort of resolution today. Also, I would like you to try and listen to understand. So while the other person is speaking, I don't want you to think about how you're going to respond. I want you to think about, what are they saying? I want you to try not to make assumptions about what the other person is thinking or feeling. Sometimes that's really hard because our brains are wired to make assumptions. Ask a question instead. One more thing, I would expect that everyone would use respectful words and communication today. Okay, does anybody have anything else they would like to add as far as guidelines for our meeting today?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good. So I'm going to just kind of introduce the process to you. So the first part of the process, you both are going to have an opportunity to give your story as to why we're here at Mediation and how this whole thing started. So that will be first. And I would ask that both of you would not interrupt one another. If there is something that you have a concern about or a question about, write it on your piece of paper, and when it's your turn, you can address that issue, okay? Then after that, I will do a comprehensive summary, and then we'll do some questioning, maybe some summarization to try to get at what is the heart of mediation, okay, or at the conflict. And after that, I will list the issues and interest. issues are the kind of bucket items of what the problem is and what we're going to resolve. But you're both coming with needs, fears, concerns, and desires that are underlying that you're probably not talking about, that I'm going to try to understand and help you both understand as well. Then you'll both build options, and if you would like, I can put your options into what's called a memorandum of understanding, and that is a written document that the intent of that is to be binding for both of you. Any questions or concerns about the process?
No, thank you for explaining it.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Anytime, if you have any questions or concerns, just stop and let's answer those questions. It's really important that everybody feels like they can ask questions and be transparent. Okay. There's one thing that I forgot to mention. Sometimes we do have what's called a caucus, and that is basically a short break with the mediator to have a private meeting. And sometimes if the conversation becomes heated, people may need to reset. And so that's an opportunity for you to call, or that's something that I can do. Okay. So now that we've kind of got opening statements out of the way, who would like to begin?
I guess I will. Frankly, I'm pretty upset that the services that I have paid for did not turn out as expected. This situation got, I think, a little out of hand. I was expecting that my renovations would be completed after 3 months. It's been 5. I'm being asked to pay more than I was supposed to, than was initially agreed upon. This is simply unacceptable.
Okay. Cameron?
I'm here because this really spoke to me when you mentioned that we may be coming in with underlying concerns. I am in jeopardy of bankruptcy as a company because of this outstanding debt, the expenses that I put out to the subcontractors. So for me, it's very much a financial crisis. It's also a frustration of communication because we had originally agreed to the materials, the design, the work that would be done, the schedule for it. Yes, the work did fall behind. That is quite common. And as we went through, I explained why the delays were happening. They were beyond my control with my subcontractors and supplies. But also we talked through and, the changes, the upgrades to materials. You knew that was coming and that would be, in the end, an additional set of expenses. So I'm frustrated and really just looking for some financial solutions to help me get out of this hole that I'm in now because of this situation.
Okay, so Megan, what I heard was that you were expecting this renovation to take 3 months and it took 5 months instead. And so that was disappointing for you. And
That's correct.
what I've heard from you, Cameron, is that that you are now in a financial crisis because of this project, and it's affecting your livelihood. Is that what I'm hearing from both of you?
Yes. As you might expect in my line of work, I'm paying out expenses to subcontractors and paying for supplies and payment from the customer in a timely manner and at the amount that was agreed on. It helps me stay afloat.
Okay. So
The amount that was agreed on was $30,000. I'm now I paid 20. I paid 10 at the initial, 10 at 6 weeks, and then it was supposed to come out to 10 at the end. I am now being asked to pay 17 up front because of upgrades that I approved, but the materials that were used were not what I had approved. It wasn't what I was expecting to get. I haven't gotten what I expected to get out of my renovations, out of this this contract.
So can I just reflect back what I heard from you? You said that you selected some upgrades, but they weren't what you expected. What were you expecting?
I mean, I was at least expecting decent materials. The wood that was used on my cabinets, the fireplace mantle, I asked for it to be solid oak. It appears to be cheap plywood. I mean, it clearly looks a lot less expensive than what I'm being expected to pay.
So
It can't have been.
So what I'm hearing is that you selected some upgrades. Now that they're in your house, it's not the quality that you expected.
Correct.
From Cameron. Cameron, what would you like to say about that?
I just want to remind you that with this decision to make some upgrades, including the oak, I get that from your perspective, and I don't understand it, but I acknowledge it, that all of a sudden $7,000 has come at you out of the blue. That could have been much higher, but you trusted me to make some choices to save you costs. So rather than the upgrades being $15,000, I managed them and made choices where I could to save you money. And one of those was the oak. That aesthetically, to my mind, gives the same appearance, but saves you having solid oak plywood instead of solid oak. To my mind, saved you another couple thousand of dollars.
Okay.
We didn't put any of our upgrades in writing. None of the upgrade costs were in writing.
And that is a lesson that I have learned now, that going forward, I will make sure that I make an addendum to the contract that is specific as possible. But at the time, we had such good conversations and talked about the materials that I didn't feel that I needed to put the changes in writing.
Okay, so let's go back a minute. What was the process at the beginning when you decided on $30,000? What was in that original agreement before you made some upgrades?
I needed the carpets redone. I needed new cabinets. I needed generally like a fresh basement. Everything replaced in the basement.
And you thought this was going to cost a total of $30,000. Was there some sort of estimate or some sort of paperwork around that at the beginning?
Yes.
Yeah, we had a signed contract and we had a signed payment plan. And I fully acknowledge that it went past the 3 months that I'd expected it to be done in.
Yeah, how was that for you? Because I know that was a really major concern for you. You said that was, right out of the gate, you were concerned about that. How was that for you?
Right. I mean, it was extremely dissatisfactory to have to wait on my basement to be finished for 2 more months after we had agreed that it would be completed. And I understand that construction and renovations sometimes goes over time. Sometimes you can't account for everything that might increase the amount of time that it takes. Like, I totally understand you can't always predict things, but I mean, it took a lot longer to finish than I had anticipated, and I really feel it's unfair that I'm being expected to pay more for these services at this point. Yes, we did agree to add in some upgrades. I just would have liked to have a better idea of what I was getting and the time frame that it would be finished in, like how much longer it would have taken.
If I could wave a magic wand, the one thing I'd change right now is to have that done at least 6 weeks earlier, if not the full 2 months earlier. So it would have been coming on time. That I understand. Where I am absolutely stuck and really frustrated is I brought in plumbers, I brought in electricians, I brought in flooring people. They did the work. They need to be paid, and that money needs to come from you.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is some acknowledgement that that you wished that this could happen on time. However, you have people knocking at your door for money. And I think is that what is causing the financial crisis?
Yes, because my entire flow of money, what I need money for to put out into new projects, it's all locked up right now.
Okay. So I'm just curious. So what was the process for these upgrades?
It wasn't, to my mind, different than the process I have with other clients who've been very satisfied. You can read the reviews on my company's website or on Google Reviews. We are, in a conversation the entire way through. They're usually curious and excited about what's happening, and even in cases where they're not, I make sure that I give them the details and get approval from them verbally. So I thought we had really great rapport. I considered you one of the kind of friendliest, most easygoing of my customers that I was working with lately. So that's part of why I'm shocked. We really talked through these things. I wish that we had codified them and put them in writing, but we didn't. But I really felt those conversations were solid.
Yes, we had conversations, and I am a very friendly person. I just feel that I should have gotten more of my money's worth with what was done. I mean, the paint texture is inconsistent. My fireplace mantle is totally, I mean, it could have been done better. It's seriously not what I was expecting at all.
And again, that to make it exactly the ideal that you have in your mind, and only you have a sense of what that looks like, easily could have run another $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. So in doing these renovations, ironically, the part that you're disputing, this extra $7,000, was much cheaper than it could have been.
How is that for you to hear that?
Not great. I mean, I already feel like I've paid so much money into this project. I feel I already haven't gotten my money's worth. So to hear that I should have paid more is very upsetting.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is, and I'm still unclear how this process of upgrades happened. It sounds like it was a verbal conversation. Were there any numbers put to that when you guys were talking about this verbally?
Yeah, I gave some estimates based off of pricing that was available to me from wholesalers at the moment.
I was never told a price specifically for the linen cabinet. I was never told a price for several of the upgrades that we had decided on.
I think I remember that.
I kind of just let you go do what you thought was best, and that was probably my mistake.
Okay, so sounds like you're taking some responsibility for not checking in on that. It sounds like you really would like to have put some numbers in writing for this project. And I'm just curious, it sounds like having this redone, was there anything that happened that you really liked about the project?
I mean, I am really glad that it's finished. Despite having some things that I would change, I am very glad that it is complete, and I suppose I can at least appreciate that it is done, that it's over and done with.
Okay, so you're happy that it's done, but the quality isn't quite what you expected as far as the completion of the job. And Cameron, have you been back to see the project since it's been completed?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not.
Okay. So I heard a payment plan of $10,000, $10,000, and then when it was complete, another $10,000. That was the original arrangement as far as what you originally planned. And then it sounds like there were some upgrades that you that included another $7,000. Is that what I'm hearing? And is that what you understand as well?
Yes. I paid what I thought the job was worth. I paid $8,000 for my last payment.
Okay, so 8,000. So you, even with, the original plan and the original, you still believe that it's only worth $28,000 versus $30,000. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct.
Okay.
And the one thing we did have a contract for was $30,000. I mean, that was in writing.
So, okay, so what I'm hearing is there's still this kind of missing $2,000, and then also another $7,000 in upgrades according to camera.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've heard quite a few things about it. If you could wave a magic wand, Megan, and this would be your perfect basement, what would that be? What would you see that being?
That's a good question. I mean, I think that if we could agree on replacing some of the materials, it would be perfect.
Okay.
I think that would be okay.
And specifically, which materials are you talking about?
Like I said, I mean, that wood, it just looked like cheap plywood.
Okay.
Are you talking about the mantelpiece?
Correct. Yeah.
And what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, somebody saying replace materials, that could refer to, I mean, all of the plumbing fixtures. I mean, that could be thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking about paint, if you want to change the texture, or if you had second thoughts about the color, I'll tell you, my contract with the painting company I use actually allows for them to come back in at minimal cost to do some refinishing. That I can do. If this is about paint, we can move forward, and you can pay me the $2,000 that's missing from the original contract and the $7,000. Painting, I can get back in. If you're talking about replacing, pulling out, deconstructing, taking the mantelpiece out, rebuilding it, that's just a different story. Are you talking about wanting to?
I mean, is there anything that we could do to it to change the way it looks?
So what specifically are you dissatisfied about the way it looks?
It looks cheap.
Okay. And so I heard cheap plywood. And what are your thoughts on what could...
It's ugly, frankly.
Okay. So it's really not up to your standards as far as...
No.
Okay. And so what are your thoughts on that, Cameron?
I'd like to see a picture. I'd like to see it in good lighting. I would like to understand exactly if something has changed between when you said you wanted the appearance of solid oak. It is solid oak plywood. And like I said, this was a cost-saving measure for you.
I understand that.
I think that it achieves the same, aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
I would need to see a picture of it, potentially. If it's just this exposed part, I would need to take a look at it, but potentially there could be some middle ground between ripping the whole thing out and just remodeling it. But I would need to come and take a look, and that would be time out of my current projects that I'd make room for somehow.
Okay. So...
I kind of feel like you owe me that.
I can find time to come back by the site.
Okay, good. Well, it sounds like we're in a cooperative mindset. So congratulations on that.
I do appreciate that.
Okay.
I appreciate you taking the time.
Okay. So what have you done in the past for this plywood veneer oak? Have you ever done anything different that, is more of a higher quality, I guess?
I have. And in this specific situation with a client before, a couple of years ago, they had originally wanted me to save as much money as possible. So I had volunteered the option of the solid oak plywood, and they on their end, independently made a decision to shift towards a higher higher quality, higher price of solid oak. And that was a decision that they made on their end and simply told me to go buy that.
So what is the difference in cost?
Significant. I'd have to look back at my figures off the top of my head.
Is it hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, or
Depending on exactly what she wanted, which I feel like right now I don't know exactly what you want. I mean, depending on the finish, I mean, it could be thousands of dollars difference.
There's so much vagueness here. I do feel like there should have been like some basic standards to adhere to. And I understand that you weren't trying to cost me like more and more thousands of dollars by choosing less expensive materials, but I feel like I at least should have been asked first. I should have been asked my opinions on these things.
okay? So, and in the conversations that you had when you guys were deciding these upgrades, that wasn't part of the conversation. Is that what I'm hearing?
No.
Okay.
To be fair, part of the reason that, I mean, I was working under the gun to try to make up for lost time. So part of, if I were to acknowledge that maybe we weren't talking as much once I got into the 2 months that I was overdue on the contract, the time that we'd agreed on, I was rushing. And so I was taking the instructions and the guidance that I'd had before and just went with it to get the job done. I really was trying to pull it in so that it wouldn't go even more late than 5 months.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so what else is there anything else? So we've got, kind of this compensation for upgrades. I've heard that, you have this financial crisis that you wish this would have happened in a timely manner, that the quality is not what you expected, and you feel that it was unfair for the selection of the quality of the veneer. Is there anything else that because I heard you say something about paint texture, or is there anything else that, you want to talk about?
She said that, we could work on paint texture. I would be happy with that. It was, I mean, it did appear to be rushed. It did appear that everything happened as if it was not on schedule, which it wasn't. And I feel like that's a lot of the reason why we're here. Other than that, I mean, I think that I'd be willing to let this go, if we can just get some of it fixed.
Okay. So we're kind of at a point where I think I've been taking some notes, and I'd like to kind of share those notes with you of
Please.
what the issues and what your interests are.
Okay.
So what I've done here, Megan and Cameron, is I've kind of just written some notes about what I've heard. And there has been, some issues that need to kind of be resolved. And one of those is communication. I know that you started out with a written contract for that original $30,000 and a payment plan with that $30,000. Mm-hmm. However, when it came to the upgrades, it sounds like there was nothing that was written down. It was all verbal communication. And I think sometimes that can be difficult, if you don't have that information in writing. And so, and that seems to have left you with some issues around transparency.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's one thing that we're going to talk about. And then there's compensation. I know that, Cameron, you feel that you have made these upgrades, and that if you don't get paid, it's going to affect you. It's a financial crisis for you. It could lead to bankruptcy of your business even. And so this is really important to you that you get this resolved today.
And my business's reputation hinges on at least getting paid my original contract.
Okay, so that reputation is really important to you as well. Okay. And so, and also, it sounds like these subcontractors are asking you for money. for work that they've already completed. And so I just put in there as notes too that there's still, that $2,000 from the original contract that's missing, and then potentially $7,000 for upgrades. And then there's the issue of workmanship of the mantle and the paint job. So Megan, I heard that it's important to you that any kind of work in the future would be done in a timely way, and that the quality of materials could be, something to your standard of what your expectations are.
For sure.
And you felt like that this has been an unfair process for you. And what I've heard from you is that just even a few seconds ago that your reputation is very important to you moving forward. And so it sounds like that you're interested in helping Megan feel like she got a good renovation. Is that what I'm hearing?
I have a basement that's refinished. I know what it is to want that space to look the way that you want it. We have obviously miscommunicated about that, but I absolutely understand that you want to feel good in that space and not have to think about, well, next time I renovate it, you want this renovation to last and be what you want. I get that. I do get that.
And
Right,
so
I would hope so.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're both kind of on the same page as far as like wanting the space to be livable and comfortable, and
I paid for it to look nice as well.
yeah, so the overall quality will be up to your standards. Okay. So this is kind of the brainstorming part of the process where you're going to together develop options to resolve some of these issues. And the first issue I think we'll start with is the workmanship of the mantle and the paint job. I've already heard, I think, one idea, Cameron, that you came up with as far as how to possibly resolve the paint.
Yeah.
And so say more about that.
Part of my contract with the painting company that I use is that they can come back in. They can't do a full repaint, but if you are talking about a specific area that needs touched up, they can come in and do that. I would have to contact them to see about the time frame, but it's built into my contract with them that that's in a timely manner. So I would say no more than a month for them to come in and do that.
What are your thoughts, Megan?
That sounds fine.
I would ask that you be part of that process, and before they leave, you sign off on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Okay. And so what about a month? Is that going to work for you, Megan? Because I know that was timely is important to you.
At this point, yeah, I mean, I have just resigned that it's going to take as long as it's going to take, especially now that it still needs a little bit more work.
Okay.
I would like to be at a place where I am not so dissatisfied with what I've received.
Yeah. It sounds like you're really working towards that.
Mm.
So now tell me about the workmanship of the mantle. What are your thoughts on how, actually, let's start with you, Megan. What are your thoughts on how to improve the mantle?
I mean, at this point, I'm wondering if I need to hire someone else that could come fix it to see what they could do for me. I mean, we don't really have a lot of ideas at this point.
Okay, so and what are your thoughts? You're kind of an expert in renovation. So what are your thoughts on some alternatives to this mantle?
I mean, I feel like now, if I understand things correctly, the mantle is standing between me and getting my bills paid and paying my subcontractor. So I need to come in, see the site again. I need to be there with you, and you point out exactly this exposed section that you're talking about. Right off the top of my head, I don't know which section you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You've got options here. You could rip the whole thing out, buy entirely new materials, and start over. You could show me what you would like to fix, and I can come up with ways that leaves the mantle in place but refinishes it. Do what I can with plaster or any other materials to get it where you want it to be. And
Sure.
that would save you from having to pay the expense of getting, a much higher quality solid oak in there. So let me see what I can do. But I would need to get in. And I've got other projects going, but I can find time in the next week or so if you're available to come over and see the site again and take pictures.
I would
And-
actually really
yeah.
appreciate that.
Okay, so so I put a couple of options that I heard up there. It sounds like that Cameron needs to come over and really see what's happening there, and then there you can rip the current mantle out and start over with something new, or you can fix the current one. What does the timeline look for either of those? If we're thinking about timeliness is important to Megan.
For my own schedule, I need to get whatever we're doing at the mantle would happen in the next month because I would not be available after that. So I don't have exact dates and times for you right now, but I can definitely with confidence say within the next month. That's if you're willing to let me leave the current mantle in place and simply refinish
Okay,
and work with it.
So within the next month, it sounds like she can fix the current mantle and but not tear it out and put in something new. What are your thoughts on that?
I like that idea. I do think tearing it out and starting completely over sounds overwhelming. And yes, I would like to get it done more quickly.
Okay.
So I think if we
So
can work
within the
together on
next
that.
month. Okay. Okay, so let's go up to compensation and what could happen there. So there's this original contract and there's still a balance owed of $2,000. And what is that for you, Megan, as far as, like, what do you see? How do you see that being completed, or your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that are I understand that there is still some money that I probably owe, but I still don't think that I should be asked to pay the amount that is being billed to me.
Okay, so
because of the additional time, because of the added stress, because of the quality of the work, I feel that I should be compensated in some way for that.
okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that, and I just want to clarify. So, are you saying that original $2,000, you feel that you shouldn't pay that? Is that what I'm hearing for the original contract? In addition to the $7,000.
I would be willing to fulfill the original contract. I don't think I should be asked to pay so much extra for the upgrades that weren't, in fact, turning out to be
Okay, so what
upgraded.
what I'm hearing is that you're on board with completing the original contract.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know why it's all going. Okay, so, and Cameron, what are your thoughts on that?
This renovation was total. It was ceiling to floor and below because it included plumbing. So it's electric, it's carpet, it's paint, it's framework, it's drywall, plumbing. That was done and that is working, and I haven't heard any complaints about it. What I'm hearing about is paint, which I've said, it's not uncommon for somebody to need to come back and have some refinishing done. The mantle is the sticking point, but I did $30,000 worth of work completely. So that's a deal breaker for me. It has to be
just to clarify, she's willing to pay the original balance. What about so that seems like she's on board with that. What about the original? So are you willing to forgive the $7,000, or what are your thoughts on that?
I can't. The materials were purchased. The materials are in her basement right now. I am, at this point, even before we came in today, I made a deal with myself. I can let go of my own costs, but I've got subcontractor bills and materials, and that brings it to $5,500.
So what I'm hearing is that you could forgive
my cut $1,500.
$1,500 and the $5,500.
And I'd also be eating the cost for the work that I'm going to do on the mantle from here on out.
Okay. What are your thoughts?
I think at this point that's the least you could do. you know, there has to be something that can be done for someone who is dissatisfied with the work. I mean,
If you're specifically dissatisfied with anything that the subcontractors did, including the folks that worked on the mantle, I did a lot of work myself personally on the mantle. It's one of my specialties. But if you are disputing the quality of any of the materials that were paid for, that's a different conversation. But I'm talking about work that you want me to do from here on out. And it will be work that I'm doing with one of my assistants. So again, the work was done, materials paid for. I'm already eating the cost of what I'm going to do from here on out. I'm stuck.
So what I'm hearing is that you're stuck. And when you say you're stuck, what does that mean?
Those are the bills that I owe.
So those are the bills that you owe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And there's this fear of bankruptcy and as far as that goes too.
Yeah.
And I hear that you feel that fairness is coming into play again, that you feel that, if there could have been more transparency and also the quality was, what you were expecting, so that is all playing into this. Is there any kind of wiggle room for you, Megan, as far as, what you're willing to pay?
I want to be able to reach an agreement on this. If it needs to be $5,500, it needs to be $5,500.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that you're in agreement that you can pay $5,500 for the upgraded materials that are already in your house.
Mm-hmm. I'm sympathetic to your plight. I really just want to get to a place where we can move forward.
Okay.
I do too. I will say, just to say it, because it's important for me to get this on the record, I have clients that are down in a basement or in a renovation space all the time. They're in so much that we have to tell them to leave because they're in the way. And this wasn't the case here. So maybe, and again, wishful thinking, if you had come down and checked the materials and been more involved, that could have helped.
Okay. So, and is that your expectation for the future renovation that
Yes, and I'd like that to be in our agreement going forward.
Okay.
That end of day, if it works with your schedule, that you or somebody else that you get permission to comes down and says, yeah, this is looking good, on the right path.
So I'll put in here that Megan will, and what does that look like for you? Will periodically visit the site.
I'd say if we could check in for about 20 minutes every day.
So another thing is that what I like to do for parties that are in a situation like this, especially for you two, since you had a situation where there was a lot of verbal communication and things were not written down, what I would like to do is to put this into a written agreement called a memorandum of understanding. Are you both agreeable to that?
Absolutely.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Okay, so I think that will kind of take care of this communication issue. It's just a written MOU. And that would be the next step in our process. Are you guys ready to go there?
Yeah, I think I
Okay.
am. Yeah.
So do you want me to cut? Well, that was great. I'm so glad that you were both able to come up with a written agreement to satisfy not only your needs, but also it seems like you've kind of repaired this working relationship in some way that, that you have reached out in a way of customer service, and that it seems like you're going to get what you want to feel comfortable in your home. So congratulations. And I'll be sending that MOU to you via DocuSign. So be looking for that in your email. Okay?
Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.